Well, hey guys, welcome to Laird Wellness Live. Scott Laird, Jody Laird.
Good evening.
And we are going to tell you how to get healthier faster tonight. And one of the strange things about that is that, one of the fastest ways to get healthy is to fast.
Right.
Literally fast. You can do that several ways, through juice fasting or bone broth fasting. Why would you want to fast in the first place? So you want to fast because it affords your body some time to heal. Some people choose to do intermittent fasting every day. That's something we do.
Yeah.
So we try and stop eating by 8 p.m. and then we don't eat till noon the next day. Now we might have something like a bulletproof coffee in the morning, something that has a little bit of fat in it, that kind of thing. So that continues the fat burning that your body began the night before through till noon the next day. So you can do something like that. And so by not having any kind of food that really needs digestion, you're giving your body a break. That allows your body to heal and repair things. I explained it to my son the other day. It's like firemen. So firemen often have another job, right? So they're firemen, and then sometimes they're roofers. They do roofing as well.
Okay.
So if there's a fire going on, the firemen can't build a roof. And if they're building a roof, they can't tend to the fire.
Right.
They would give up the roofing and go after the fire, right? So your body does the same thing. That metabolism that goes on when you're eating is like the fire. It's always got to be minding things, and there's a little bit of inflammation involved, and so your immune system gets involved and all this kind of thing.
Digestion, whatever it is.
Right. And so when that's happening, when you're digesting, your body's not healing. So you need to stop eating for a certain amount of time per day. That's why it's better to have bigger meals spaced apart, so your insulin isn't always up all the time. Your insulin is that fire, and that's not healthy. You want to have separate meals, and then a big chunk of fasting during the day, which is easiest to do when you're sleeping, of course, and then you just sort of extend that till noon the next day.
Right.
So that's a very healthy thing to do. Another thing you can do is juice fasting. Now, this was a big thing when I worked out the Hallelujah Diet. We always taught how to juice fast. It was better than water fasting, because water fasting, that's fine. I mean, it gives your body a break. But juice fasting also gives your body a break because there's no fiber to break down. When your body digests, it is breaking things down into liquid.
Right. Plus, juice fasting gives your body extra nutrients that you need.
Right, without having to digest, right? Because like we said, the body is breaking things down into liquid so it can push it out into the bloodstream. Well, if you have an empty stomach and all you're doing is juice fasting, well, juice has no fiber in it. That's what a juicer does. It separates the juice from the fiber. And so all you're drinking is the juice with all of the nutrients in it. The fiber just kind of holds it all together. So when you swallow that, now it's going straight into the bloodstream. So you get like a pound of carrots, for example, nutrition from a pound of carrots in this little 8-ounce juice. Boom. I mean, that's how people reverse cancer and things like this, by doing juice fasting. And so juice fasting is really important because of one molecule called chlorophyll. Look at chlorophyll here on the screen and compare it to human blood on the right, hemoglobin. So the molecular structure is very, very similar, except in the center of plant we have magnesium, and in the center of the hemoglobin molecule we have iron. So it's very, very similar. And so this is why it's so healthy for your body. I mean, it just makes sense that if it's so close to your blood, it would be very, very helpful. So anything from a plant that's green is going to have chlorophyll. So that's why you want to be juicing things that are green. And so green juicing is very powerful.
Right.
You are not talking about juicing an orange or juicing grapefruit or something like, no. We're juicing vegetables, and juicing maybe an apple to go with it too, so sweeten it up a little bit. But other than that, you're doing mostly green stuff. And we're going to show you some other, not recipes, but some things that are ideal to have in every juice. But juicing benefits are very wide.
Right.
A wide array of vegetables benefits from juicing vegetables, just because of that whole hemoglobin thing. So let's check this out. So here's some health benefits of juicing green juice. So green juice requires hardly any digestion, like we talked about. So all of its nutritional goodness gets rapidly into your system while simultaneously giving your digestive system a rest. Okay, so we just talked about all that. We never even looked at the slide, so there you go. Power packed with easy to absorb nutrients. So that's one of the benefits. It's full of chlorophyll, which can help oxygenate your body. Why? Because it looks very similar to the hemoglobin molecule, right? Just like your blood. It's like a blood transfusion pretty much. Improved focus and mental clarity. I've experienced that doing juice fasting. Reduced whole body inflammation. Because why? Because like we talked about, your insulin level is going to be down. And so you're not fighting that fire, using the fireman analogy, all the time. You're going to have healthier, shinier skin, hair, and nails. Why? Because all those nutrients are going direct to your bloodstream, and that goes all around the body, including to your skin, hair, and nails. You'll get a stronger immune function. Why? Because you're not putting out the fire on the immune system all the time, because you don't have that insulin level that's up, right? So better energy and digestive health. Why? Because you're not digesting a bunch of fiber. It's just juice. It's all ready to go right into the bloodstream. And it improves fat burning and weight loss as well. So lots of benefits to juice fasting.
Right.
Now, what do you want to juice? Okay, that's pretty simple, actually. You want to have this in every juice. Hydrating vegetables. So things like cucumbers, celery, and bok choy. Dark green leafy vegetables. This is what's going to have the highest concentration of that chlorophyll that looks like the hemoglobin. So kale, collard greens, watercress, spinach, etc. Herbs like ginger, turmeric, parsley, mint, cilantro, etc. And a low glycemic fruit. What's that? So that's fruit that doesn't have much sugar in it. So the best things are green apples, lemons, and limes. So that will sweeten up a juice just enough. You don't really want a sweet juice because you're going to be drinking a lot of this, and so you don't want to be having a lot of sweetness. It just won't taste good anyway. So having just a little bit of that, not even bitterness, kind of a tartness to it,
Right.
will make it taste good.
Yeah.
And some optional things you can throw in there, some blue-green algae or some sea vegetables as well. And that, of course, will change the flavor of the juice. So if you don't want it to taste a little salty-ish, don't put those things in.
Right.
Another way to fast is something we did with bone broth fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I worked with my chiropractor friend, Dr. Ernst, in Charlotte, he did something with folks that was several days of a bone broth fast.
Right.
And that was to get them into ketosis if they needed to kind of bring down their sugars and insulin, which most people do. Mm-hmm. And so he had them go through this 4-day bone broth fast where all you drank was just bone broth.
Right.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it made a lot of sense. And so what happens there is basically you're starving the body of carbohydrates. A little bit different than juice fasting. This is like to get you into ketosis, which is basically your body relying on fats for fuel instead of carbohydrates. So what you're doing is completely starving the body of carbohydrates and just feeding it fat in the form of bone broth. And bone broth has lots of benefits through the collagen we'll get into in a second. But so what happens there then is your body will use carbohydrates first, and it has a little bit of glycogen stores, which is sugar, basically, in your muscles, in your tissues. And so it will use all of that before it starts going after the fat. Right. So it's sort of like a two-stage energy system, kind of like a hybrid vehicle. It uses gasoline and electricity. I use that analogy with some people sometimes to explain that. So when your body finally gives up looking for carbs, it's used up all the sugar, it says, okay, fine, I'll use the fat. And it starts going after your fat. When that happens with the bone broth fast, that's about 2.5 days into that,
Yep.
right? And then all of a sudden you get this energy burst. You don't know where it came from because you haven't eaten anything solid for like 2.5 days. Where did this come from?
I can attest to it.
Right.
It actually is a real thing.
And it's weird. It's like,
Yeah.
where is this coming from? It's coming from your body discovering that it has its own fuel source. It's eating your own fat. Mm-hmm. And so it has this like endless supply of fuel, really, because that's how people can fast for 40 days. Everybody, even skinny folks, have like lots of fat in their body, believe it or not. That's an emergency fuel supply that your body hangs on to. That's
Right.
the whole purpose of fat, right? And it's also to store the toxins away from the organs as well. But anyway, so you get into this fasting state, and now you got all kinds of energy. And if you continue focusing on fat, less on carbs, and a little bit of protein, you can stay in that phase while eating, and that's what's called ketosis.
Right.
And we often teach people that too if they have sugar issues when they come to our Biologic Blueprint program. So that's just something interesting to note. So let's take a look at some benefits of bone broth fasting. So what happens when you do this? So you'll heal the gut, reduce food sensitivity. So you'll notice some overlap here with the benefits of juice fasting, but there's some unique things to each one. So bone broth fasting reduces food sensitivities because all you're doing is bone broth. That's it. You don't, not even any fruits or vegetables at this time. Repairs and strengthens joints, tendons, and ligaments. Why? Because of all the collagen, all the fat. The collagen really is a protein in the bone broth. That's why we boil the bones. We get the collagen out of the marrow. It improves skin and hair, reduces visible signs of aging. Why? Again, because of the collagen. It supports a healthy metabolism and can even help with weight loss. Why? Because, like we said, you will train your body to eat its own fat. And it's a very healthy thing to do. Now, when you do that, because we said you have the toxins in your fat, you may notice that your blood pressure goes up temporarily, or other things that you used to struggle with all of a sudden come back, and people realize this is happening and they panic and they stop. And you should not stop when that's happening. That's called a healing crisis. You just keep going. Go through that process, because what's happening is your body is bringing out those toxins back into your bloodstream by burning the fat. And you're going to get those temporary problems again, because you're pushing the problems that were basically tucked away into your fat back into the bloodstream so that they can be eliminated. So if you previously had high blood pressure from eating too much table salt or something like that, that table salt is stored away in the fat, and then it comes back out again temporarily. So you'll get this spike in blood pressure. People panic, and I say, nope, it's okay. Let it pass. And within a few hours or maybe a day, that's gone.
Right.
So that's no problem. So if you're finding yourself in that healing crisis, just keep going. It will also support detoxification and improve immune function as well. Again, because you're not eating. So here's how you do a bone broth fast. Bone broth is a healing elixir made from simmering the bones and connective tissue of animals and or fish. And all you do is drink 8 to 16 ounces of bone broth a day, or 4 times a day rather. You can even drink more than that. Doesn't matter. If you're hungry, have some more bone broth. Now, by the end of this fast, you probably never want to touch bone broth again.
I don't know. I still enjoy it. I actually still drink bone broth every day. I'm trying to cut down on coffee, so I will have a cup of bone broth, and I'll put a little bit of sea salt in there, and that just satisfies me for several more hours, and then I'm not getting the extra caffeine either.
Right. So then you're still feeding your body fat, so you're training it so that, hey, I'm going to give you some fat, so burn that, and when you're done, go look for more fat. And you'll find that even if you break this cycle of ketosis, sometimes we recommend that people do that once a week, just to sort of throw the body a curveball, is what I call it. Yeah. Give them a little bit of sugar, that kind of thing. Not sugar, but like in just the form of carbohydrates.
Carbs, yeah. Or have a keto waffle that has a little bit more carbs than, say, protein and veggies would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you do, and we're not talking about the Atkins diet here, where there's like all kinds of, just meat and pork
cheese.
Rinds and no, that's not what we're talking about. So it's talking about good carbs and protein. Well, we can get into that with you if you decide to do with this. Yeah. So we won't bore you with the details right now, but so basically you eat these things apart from being in ketosis. And then what happens is after that, you go back into your intermittent fasting. So you're done with that day of, cheating, so to speak. You go to the next day, wait till noon the next day, and then you kind of get into a fat-focused diet again. Your body goes, oh, I don't know what we did that last day, but boy, am I glad you're doing this again. And boom, it'll go right back into ketosis, because that's what you've trained it to do. You've trained it to recognize fat through the curveball of carbohydrates, and it's looking at you going, what are we doing here? The next day, you give it what it's comfortable with, going back to the burning the fat. So that's a beautiful thing about ketosis. So you can go back and forth, and it's healthy to go back and forth and have like 2 or 3 days like that in between when you finally get to your goals.
Right.
And sometimes people need to be doing this kind of thing for longer periods. We have someone who did our 12-week program, and she signed up for another 3 months, and then she signed up for another 3 months,
right?
And now she's signed up another 3 months. So I think she's going to be with us for like a year, because she is fighting some remnants of, she had some cancer in her past. And so she wants to just completely get rid of that. And ketosis is a great way to stay away from cancer. Why? Because cancer thrives on sugar. If you've ever had a CAT scan, they make you swallow the stuff. And what is that stuff? It's basically sugar water. Why? Because it's going to go directly to the cancer cells if you have them in your body, and then they put you in the scanner, and then that way the scanner lights up, because that's where this elixir has gone into your cancer cells, and it's going to show up on the CAT scan. So if a CAT scan makes cancer show up by drinking sugar, what do you think sugar does? It feeds the cancer.
Right.
So by doing this bone broth thing and basically staying in ketosis, that is relying on fat instead of carbohydrates, which convert to sugar that, create a fuel, and a very viable fuel. Nothing wrong with carbohydrate-driven fuel, which is glycogen, but cancer thrives on that.
Right.
Cancer cells have many more receptors on them that feed on sugar than regular cells. So that should tell you something right now that, hey, if you've got any kind of risk of cancer, ease up on the carbohydrates and maybe lean toward this fat thing for a little bit. Fat is not the enemy.
No, it is not.
Sugar is the enemy.
Sugar is the enemy.
And in fact, way back when, gosh, I can't remember what decade it was. It was like the 30s or 40s. It was really early in the 20th century. That the sugar industry basically was much more powerful than the fat industry, if you will. And so they villainized fat as, oh, butter is extremely bad for you. This is bad for you. That's bad for you. And all these studies that were kind of skewed a little bit. And it was to take the attention off of how bad sugar really was for you. And as it turns out now, we come back almost 100 years later, and it's like, wow, were we ever duped for like a couple of generations? No wonder we have so many problems.
And then the low-fat generation, the low-fat diet generation, which I was a part of, boy, it did a lot of damage. And you know, I was talking to a client earlier this evening, and we had a conversation about that and dementia.
Yeah.
Low-fat and dementia. Huge.
And
link.
why? You think
Huge.
about it. So why is that such a huge link? Because of cholesterol. So if you're avoiding fat, you're avoiding cholesterol. The whole thing about driving your cholesterol down.
Yep.
Well, guys, cholesterol is, as our friend Dr. Lewis would tell you, the vehicle by which fat-soluble nutrients make it around the body. What is the brain made of? It's 60% plus of fat.
Yep.
So you want to be feeding the brain with fat. That's why cholesterol is so important for the brain. I mean, this is a mind twist. I understand because people are like, wow, how can that be? I mean, I had a cholesterol of about 160 as a vegan. I thought, oh, I'm doing really well. And we were told, whoa, that's a stroke risk. Yep. That's a stroke risk. And so Jody has
you don't have to tell
much
me.
higher than that, but we're not worried about it.
No.
Because it's the right ratios, things are happening. Cholesterol is not a problem. It's an indicator that your body's working on something. So you kind of look at the cholesterol, but again, Dr. Lewis, our friend who does the blood test with the Biologic Blueprint program, that we're going to get into in a second, he'll be the first one to tell you that, you know, cholesterol is important. And that's
absolutely necessary.
Absolutely necessary, yeah, and that you really need it. And yeah, so anyway, he's got all kinds of great talks on that. Actually,
we just put one up on our Facebook page just recently, yesterday. Talk on.
Oh, not from Dr. Lewis, but from this other female doctor.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
And
awesome.
It's an excellent talk. So tune into that if you can on our Laird Wellness Facebook page.
So now we're going to introduce our new program in just a second. But first of all, let us tell you about the existing program if you've never heard about it. It's called the Biologic Blueprint, and I'm going to put something on the screen here of all that it includes. It's basically a 12-week program where Jody and I will coach you for 12 weeks. We'll read your blood labs with you. We know how to interpret those. We know what to suggest. We have Dr. Lewis behind us too, if he wants to take a look at them as well and help you out with that. And then we'll give you 12 weeks of coaching after that to help you turn around your health, no matter what you're struggling with. In fact, the new blood test we're using is really cool. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about it, Jody.
Well, it is the 55 biomarkers that are in our original blood test, which is like for overall health. You know, it tells you your glucose, your insulin, your cholesterol.
And your risk of several different types of diseases.
You know, yeah, your SED rate, which is a whole other program. 55 biomarkers. But with the ones that we're offering now, it has 10 other biomarkers that have to do with your blood consistency, how it flows, and basically your COVID risks. Whether you've had the jab or not, it doesn't matter. Whether you're getting it or not, it doesn't matter. It just looks at your overall blood. So if you have had it, it will look at, what did happen? Did anything happen because of it? If you haven't had it, it looks at, well, could I get it and not worry about anything? So it's just an overall look at your blood.
And then the beauty of it is you're not just left with those questions. Well, gee, what do I do now? Now we can tell you what to do and how to reverse the effects of these things. So it's really important to look at this stuff. I mean, folks are walking around sometimes having had the jab or having had the disease, and they're walking time bombs and they don't realize it. So this will help you determine your risk, whether you need to defuse a bomb or whether you're just fine.
In fact, we have some clients who are getting the test before and after.
Oh, that's really clever.
just
That's really
to
good.
kind of see
Yep.
what went on.
Now,
if
speaking of
anything.
which, if you do the 12-week program, you will get 2 tests just like that. Here's what it includes. So the initial blood labs and a 60-minute consult, just like Jody talked about. And that 60-minute consult will go through your labs. We'll tell you exactly what's going on. We can interpret them. We know exactly what to tell you. And supplements to take, if anything, changes in diet, changes in lifestyle. This is a whole lifestyle program, guys. This is not just about losing weight or something. Your body, in fact, will not lose weight until you get healthy, because it's going to be pushing fat into your bloodstream in order to get rid of it. Your body's not going to put that kind of risk on you if you're not ready for it. So you have to be healthier first. Talk about another mind twist. How about that? We'll also get 30-minute consults every 10 days with me and Jody. We'll do a Zoom call, just kind of like what you're seeing here. And we will go through your labs. We'll check in with you, see how you're doing, give you some homework to do, and just give you some instruction based on your lifestyle. And as part of that, we have 6 educational videos that Jody and I have pre-recorded. Some very basic, very important information. Things like how to read a food label. What's so great about fat, and what are the good fats? What are bad fats? What about vitamin D3? All these type of things we've done educational videos on, and you will get the benefit of all of those videos in this program. You'll also get some bioimpedance scanning equipment. What is that? That is a special scale that tells you your hydration, your muscle content, your bone mass, how many calories you need in a day to sustain.
Fat? How much
fat?
subcutaneous fat you
Right,
have?
where the fat is. So is it subcutaneous fat, which is basically under your skin, or is it visceral fat, which is around your organs? And then also the fun one is your metabolic age.
Right.
So that'll tell you whether, if you're 50 years old and it's saying you're 53, that means you're aging faster than you actually are. Or if you're 46, it says you're 46 and you're actually 50, then, well, you're doing pretty good. So and we can bring those markers down, and it's really fun to see week to week how people improve. And that scale is a really good way of doing that. Another good way of testing things is this blood testing equipment that we include with the program. It is basically a blood test meter that tests. It's kind of like the thing that diabetics have. Check your sugar, but it not only checks the sugar, it also checks your ketones, like we talked about, to see if you did the bone broth fast or something like that, or you want to get into ketosis and start burning fat instead of carbs. It will tell you, according to your blood, whether or not that is actually happening in your body. Good way to keep track of that. We'll also give you a $100 gift card for anything at Laird Wellness. Give you a good head start, because sometimes you're going to need some supplements according to your blood test. We have a HIPAA-compliant patient portal for all your info. We can put all your labs in there, everything. If you have other previous labs that you want to share with us, and we can help you figure things out, you can throw those in there. You can have unlimited tech support with me and Jody. Ask us any question anytime you want. We actually have a private Facebook group too. Lots of folks who have been through this. Gosh, there's 50 people on there now?
Yeah.
Yep, and they still, even after they're done the program, guess what? They still share recipes on there, things they're doing, testimonials of how they've taken what they've learned from us, and they're continuing to do it, and they're excited about it. So that's just a really neat place to be, and people who have actually gone through it can help you out with any kind of struggles or questions you've got too. You can also have you're also going to get a follow-up blood test and a 60-minute consult again. This is the same blood test you did at the beginning, so now you can compare apples to apples and see how you've improved. And that is probably the most important and fun thing about all this. And also, there's a 20% net referral fee for spreading the word. What is that? That is our thank you for spreading it out to a family member or a friend. If they do it, at the end of their program, or at the start of their program, we'll give you 20% of what we get to say. Thank you very much. We appreciate you sending someone our way so that we can help them too. Now, okay, so that's a 12-week program.
Right. And, 12 weeks is great to get a real good head start on a lifelong journey.
Right. Yeah. And so, and that's for people, if you're like a lot of people who saw this and went, you know what, I need 12 weeks. I want to do this because, we do this informational talk with you for like 30 minutes. Let me just put that on the screen here, how you can do that right now if you want. You can book some time with me at lairdwellness.com/blueprint. And basically it's a free half hour where you and I just talk. I ask you some questions. We kind of figure out where you're at and see if this program is suitable for you.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you to sign up and go, oh gosh, this isn't what I thought it was. So we want you to be informed, and we want to make sure it's good for you.
Because guess what? you have to do the work. We're not doing the work.
That's
we're,
right.
We're teaching you how to do the work, but you still have to do the work yourself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're 100% responsible for getting 100% of the results. We're here to teach you how to do it and to encourage you along the way.
And to get you healthy and for you to take your own health back.
That's right. And so what we do is when we talk to you about that in this call, we make sure that it's suitable for you. And, most times it is suitable for folks because what most people are looking for is accountability.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you live in a house by yourself, or you live with your family, but no one else wants to improve their health, but you do, it's really hard to stay on track, and you need somebody in your corner. That's what this is about. We're in your corner for like 3 months. Yeah. And by that time, you've got this. You can do this on your own. You got it. But some people need those 12 weeks to get going.
Right.
Now, we've heard from a lot of folks that, we've actually seen a lot of folks, but by like the 5th or 6th week, they got this. They can do it on their own, and they just need to ask us a couple of questions here and there afterwards.
Right.
So we thought, why don't we create another program? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the time, people said, well, 12 weeks is a big commitment for me. Either, whether 12 weeks was just, I don't have time to do that or whatever, or maybe
well, let's face it,
financially they may not be able to do it because it is an investment in your health. Let's just be honest. It's not like $30 or something like that. It is an investment in your health. And so some people found that, well, I have to maybe wait a little while. Some people have told us that recently, that they want to wait a little bit until they can come to us and then they can start the program. So we decided, you know what, maybe we should come up with a shorter program that is a lot more affordable. And it's for those folks that don't need 12 weeks of accountability.
I was going to say, let's face it, because the world is not the same as the world it was 3 years ago. A lot of people are trying to save their money a little bit more. Right. They're spending it on other things, like some future things that may be happening down the road.
And that's the reason we're seeing, absolutely.
But yet people still want to get healthy, and people want to do it quickly. And so this is why and the people we talk to all the time, are interested in these kind of things.
Right.
So this is why we've done this.
Exactly. Yeah. Good. Well said, Jody. You said that better than I did. So thank you. She's like, let me get a word in edgewise, and maybe I can explain it better. Okay. So we call this the Biologic Blueprint Express. So it is only 6 weeks long, and here are some differences. They're in red. First of all, you're going to get the blood labs just like you would with the 12-week program.
Right.
Now, what makes the shorter is, in 6 weeks, you can't really tell what's going on with your blood. It will not have changed that much in 6 weeks. It gives you a good start. So we're not putting a blood lab at the end of 6 weeks because that wouldn't make sense.
But we will give you a bit of a deal at the end if you want to get your blood work done, say 6 more weeks after that.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
6 weeks 6 weeks with us, continue another 6 weeks or a couple of months on your own because you've got this. And then come back to us and we'll give you a deal again and give you another 60-minute consult.
Yep.
And you can get that blood drawn again.
Yeah, so basically what you can do is start with this. And if you decide, hey, I'd like to keep going with even the coaching. Yeah. I want to kind of make this my own kind of 12-week program. You can do that. You can start with the 6 weeks and then you can extend it.
Yeah.
We've done that too. So you can extend it. So it's sort of like a self-directed wellness. You've heard of like a self-directed IRA or 401k where you decide what goes in and when you contribute and when you pull back. That's what this is. So you invest for the first 6 weeks, and then after that, it's up to you. You can continue on if you want, or you can stop and try it on your own, or call us back and tag on some more time and some more coaching, whatever you want. So that's the beauty of the Express program. So you'll get a 30-minute consult. With the 12-week program, it's every 10 days or so. Kind of give people a break in between. So this is more of an accelerated thing. It's every 7 days. So every week we're going to meet with you. So it's boom, 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 1 week after the other. So if you're the type of person that, like Jody said before, you like to get it done. You want to get at it and you are self-motivated. You can do this. This program is for you. So we'll meet with you every 7 days. You're still going to get the 6 educational videos. You'll get all that. You'll still get the fancy scale that measures all your fat content and muscle and all that. You'll still get all the blood testing equipment. And you'll get 20% off anything at lairdwellness.com. And for some folks, that's even better than the $100 off that you get with the 12-week program. Because if you buy more, you'll save more. 20% off anything in that whole 6 weeks. So that's another benefit right there. You'll also get the patient portal like you do with the 12-week program. You'll still be in the private Facebook group, unlimited texting, just like the 12-week program. You'll still get the referral fee. Now, here's the beauty of it. It's only 6 weeks long, and it ends up actually costing 35% less than the 12-week program. So there you go. So there's some pros to each program. So if you want to do 12 weeks, you can do that. Or if you want to do 6 weeks, you can do that. And either way, all you have to do, it's the same thing. All you do is call me. By using this link, you can book some time with me, half an hour. We'll talk about it. We'll, first of all, like we said, find out what your goals are, what you want to achieve. And then according to what you want to achieve and how motivated you are, at that point, you and I can decide, well, maybe you want to do the 12-week program. That suits you best. Right. Or maybe you want to do the 6-week program. That suits you best. And maybe you want to tag on stuff later. We can do that too. So, and you can tag on stuff at the end of the 12 weeks too, which we talked about one client is doing already.
Right.
You can be with us for as long as you want. We'll be happy to help you for as long as you want to do this. So anyway, that's the beauty of the Biologic Blueprint program. It really is self-directed wellness. I came up with that term the other day and told Jody, I was like, that's a good term. Self-directed wellness. Let's just call this self-directed wellness. And that's the Biologic Blueprint program. So anyway, go to the link down there, lairdwellness.com/blueprint, and you can take advantage of getting healthier faster. Good talking to you. Thank you for being with us.
Take care.
And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.